Hello, good evening. It's Monday evening, and you know what that means? It means it's Mash Buttons Monday. Over the past few weeks, we've been talking about small concepts that we can use to push our gameplay forward. Things like having a simple combo to work with, having a good anti-air game to keep our opponent from jumping on us, and these are all very disjointed ideas. When you jump into an actual match, it's hard to actually put these all together and formulate a cohesive strategy, so to speak. That's sort of what I'd like to talk about today. I'd like to talk about how we establish good fundamentals when we're starting out and how we can take the next step in actually fighting an opponent. When two players are very new to the game, they're not going to have high damage combos. They're just going to be hitting each other maybe once or twice, and then they're going to disengage and they're going to repeat that process until someone dies. And that's usually why a lot of newcomers and a lot of newcomer matches actually take a very long time to complete, because they just don't know how to kill each other yet. They're just sort of smacking each other, kind of wimpy fighting until one person drops dead. And it doesn't usually end in anything fancy like a special move or a super. They just kind of smack each other with the punch button and slash. The game is over. We can come to a sort of conclusion that the player that attacks more often is the one that is more likely to win. How do we control the number of times that we attack in a game? There are a few ways to do this, and if we are able to do that, well, we can kind of control the pace of the match, because if we're attacking more often, then the opponent has fewer opportunities to respond to that. And there are basically two ways I like to look at it. There are two ways we can control the pace of the match: by increasing the amount of times we can attack, or we can also decrease the amount of times our opponent can attack. I'd like to talk about improving our own offense so that we can attack more often, because I think that's a little bit easier to talk about and practice compared to dealing with the opponent. In the first Mash Button Mondays, I talked about finding a nice short combo that leads into a knockdown, and I mentioned that this combo would help you start your offense, and it would allow you to sit in the driver's seat and take reign of the match. When we get our knockdown, we can actually continue our offense, because the combo that started that knockdown is part of the offense. So we're going to be talking about ways to extend that offense and then continue that until our opponent dies. Let's talk about this knockdown, right? So just for our example's sake, I'm going to assume that my combo is 2K2D. Simple knockdown, right? This knockdown will let us start our offense. And your character can start offense in a meaningful number of ways depending on what character you're playing. So I won't talk about the character-specific ways that we can continue offense, but this is where we get into the meat of things, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. So when the opponent gets knocked down, I can do whatever I want. And like I said before in the first episode, we are now in the driver's seat. The opponent cannot do anything while we're moving around. So what does that do for us? Well, the opponent has to get up into our attack. If we knock them down, we have the opportunity to attack them while they're getting up. If they do not block, they will get hit. And this is what one refers to as a meaty. Yes. Literally getting into the meat of things. So we want to make sure we're always attacking the opponent as they get up, and we're not ever going to give them a chance to recover from this. This is how we establish our offense. If the opponent does not block, then we just repeat the process over and over and over again until we win. You know, there's no reason for us to stop doing this if the opponent doesn't block, because it loops itself into the same situation over and over. This is what's going to allow us to keep ourselves in a spot that keeps us comfortable. We're going to recognize the scenario that happens, and we're going to be able to repeat it without having to think about it. And the less we have to think, the better. What happens after the opponent starts blocking? This is still good for us, because even though the opponent blocked it, we can start some sort of offense. We can sort of mash the same option over and over to see if the opponent has blocked it. This is what we call hit confirming, and I briefly talked about it in the first episode, but I didn't expand into it too much because it wasn't all that important for what I was talking about. But in this case, we can actually learn a bit from it now. If we try to do the same combo we just did to get our knockdown, it pushes us out really far, and it's probably unsafe. It can probably be punished by a number of far-hitting moves. Our offense basically stops. We're all the way out here, and there's nothing we can do to continue the pressure. Our offense essentially ends if we commit to the same combo we normally did, and that's because it got blocked. So what do we do in the cases where we recognize that it gets blocked? So we can actually continue into a different chain of attacks should we recognize in time that the opponent has blocked. The second way The second way to increase, or rather get closer to victory because of the number of times we're attacking, is to prevent our opponent from attacking us. Yeah, don't get hit. One of those ways I've already talked about in a previous Mash Buttons Monday, and it is the anti-air. It's the anti-air. I talked about the anti-air. So anti-airs let us stop the opponent from jumping in on us, and if we can remove the opponent's approach on us from the air, that's just one component of stopping the opponent's offense. We want to have good defense if we want to keep them from running us over. One of the biggest lessons we tell new players is just block, just keep blocking. If you block and all you do is block in the early levels of your learning experience, you will win way more. Because people don't know what's safe and what isn't safe. The opponent will eventually do something that your reward for defending successfully is this pushback. I can't just sit here over and over and over and punch you, because otherwise you'd be stuck blocking forever. But if you block correctly, I eventually get pushed out to here and I can't do anything besides trying to restart my offense. Do I have moves that hit from that distance? Yes, but they're far slower and there are ways to get out from this position. At this point, if I am dizzy on the left, I have to make a decision. I need to restart my offense somehow, which means I'm either going to have to run up to you to pick a fast button, or I'm going to have to commit to a button that's slower at this range. In either case, there is an opportunity for the dizzy on the right to get out or to counterattack me. And this is where defense comes in handy, because now since we've pushed the opponent out by blocking, we can successfully get away and prevent another attack. Another common scenario you might see is I'm blocking and your opponent is just hitting you and they get pushed out. They want to get in really fast, so they jump in. What do you do if they jump in? You anti-air. It comes full circle. It comes full circle. So yes, this is why patient defense is going to win you games. If you just sit there and block, eventually somebody will make a mistake. Now, there are certainly times where you want to mash and you just hit buttons. As a new player, we don't recognize those situations all that well yet. If we just focus on blocking, high or low, the opportunity will present itself eventually. We'll be able to recognize very clearly that, okay, this is the time where we can move. That time being when I get pushed out to here, or I do an unsafe move that leaves me with a lot of recovery. Those are the times that we're looking to get away from our opponent's pressure, and this is how we keep them from running us over. On the tail end of that defense concept, we continue our own offense and we wait patiently on our own defense. We're going to eventually tip the tides in our favor. Even if we have 2-hit combos, if we hit the opponent 100 times and they hit us 0 times, we're still gonna win. We don't need the mechanical skill to perform hard combos yet. That's okay. We just need to be able to rinse and repeat the process so that we actually come out on top. Next time you guys end up playing a game, wait it out, block patiently. You'll find yourself winning a lot more than you would expect. Good meaties, good defense, good anti-air. You'll win a lot more than you think. That's all I wanted to talk about for today, guys. Thanks for hanging out. So until next time, thanks for watching. We'll see you then.